Hey, do you ever think about the fact that once upon a time, Jesus was a middle schooler? That's right. Once upon a time, God was in junior high, basically. And Luke chapter 2 gives us some insight into that. We don't get a lot of details about Jesus' growing up years, but in Luke chapter 2, we get a small picture, and we get a glimpse of what it looked like for the Son of God to grow up and to live in a normal household and to go through all the normal stuff and to experience life on this earth as a 12-year-old of all things. In Luke chapter 2, we're going to start in verse 40. It says this: "There Jesus grew up, maturing in physical strength and increasing in wisdom, and the grace of God rested on him." Okay, stop there. Here's what that basically means. Jesus went through puberty. That's a shocker, I know it. But Jesus went through puberty. He got some zits. He would spend time in the mirror every morning looking for, some mustache hair. He experienced body odor. All of that. Jesus went through all of that stuff. The same things that we went through. He went through the same doubts, the same insecurities, the same questions that we ask. He went through all of that stuff. He went through some of the same mishaps and the mess-ups, just like any other family, and experienced some of that. Let's continue to read about that. Every year during Jesus' childhood, his parents traveled to Jerusalem for the Passover celebration. When Jesus was 12, he made the journey with them. They spent several days there participating in the whole celebration. When his parents left for home, Jesus stayed in Jerusalem, but Joseph and Mary were not aware. Okay, kind of, like fun dysfunction. Joseph and Mary kind of take off. They leave Jesus behind and they don't even realize it. It's kind of like when maybe your parents left you at Walmart when you were a toddler and it was an accident. It happens to the best of parents and the best of families. And now check this out. They assumed Jesus was elsewhere in the caravan that was traveling together. After they had already traveled a full day's journey toward home, they began searching for him among their friends and relatives. When no one had seen the boy, Mary and Joseph rushed back to Jerusalem and they searched for him. And they put out an Amber Alert. They're going crazy. They're freaking out a little bit. They cannot find their boy. After 3 days of separation, they finally found him sitting among a group of religious teachers in the temple, asking them questions, listening to their answers. So he's hanging out with all the religious teachers and just asking them some questions, just having some conversation. Everyone was surprised and impressed that a 12-year-old boy could have such deep understanding and could answer questions with such wisdom. His parents, of course, had a different reaction. Mary said, "Son, why have you treated us this way? Listen, your father and I have been sick with worry for the last 3 days, wondering where you were, looking everywhere for you." Jesus said to her, "Why did you need to look for me? Didn't you know that I must be working for my Father?" Okay, here's what kept Jesus on track as a 12-year-old. He went through a lot of the same stuff that you go through, all of the same stuff. But here's what kept him on track, was this strong, unstoppable sense of identity and purpose. He knew who he was. I'm here for a reason, and I refuse to be normal. Jesus knew who he was. He knew what he was all about. Jesus' life was spent working in the family business. He went from one family business to another. He worked for his earthly father, Joseph, in the carpenter shop and learned the trade there. And then he became part of his heavenly father's business. And so he had this strong sense of identity. He knew who he was, knew who he was all about. And that's the secret for us, getting through life, getting through all of the mishaps and the misunderstandings and the mess-ups that we're going to go through. Know who you are and refuse to be anyone else. Refuse to be like everyone else. Say, I know who I am. I know what I'm all about. This is me. This is how I'm wired. This is how I'm different from everybody else, and that's okay. Separate yourself from the pack. When I stand in line, or when I stand in a crowd, that's when I start to really feel small. That's when I really start to compare myself to others. Because I look around, I'm 5 foot tall, and if I'm standing in line, what I'm looking at are armpits everywhere. Armpits over here, armpits over there, armpits. Everywhere are armpits. And suddenly I start feeling pretty cruddy about myself and start comparing myself to others. But when I stand out, when I break out from the crowd, when I stop standing in line, when I stop comparing myself to others, I feel okay about myself. I realize this is me. This is who I'm supposed to be. I'm not like anybody else. I have this sense of purpose, sense of identity. That's going to get me through. And then I joined the family business. I realized that I'm a part of the same family business that Jesus was. And that's just rescuing people. Loving God, loving people, rescuing them, introducing people to Jesus. God bless you guys. Giddy up.